What's up, everybody? We are back with episode number 291. Only 9 episodes away from 300. Yeah.
Yep.
Pretty exciting.
Like 9,
and we didn't screw up the intro this week. Awesome.
Oh, it did work, didn't it? Cool.
Yep. Last week it didn't work because we upgraded and updated, and now you have to, when I tell it to go live, it automatically pulls the video and starts playing it, as opposed to me having to push it. But it won't play the second video, even though I told it to. So I just sat there and watched, and then as soon as it came on, I clicked it, so it worked. Oh well, not everything works the way it's supposed to, I guess.
Sometimes they call that progress, right?
Well, it's technology, man. Makes your life easier. That's what they say. But think about it. 10, 15 years ago, we couldn't even do this.
That reminds me that I just saw a movie last night. Steph and I were just kind of trolling through looking for something and there's a movie called Extinction. Might check it out. It has an interesting twist with technology.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that's this week. Holy smokes.
Yep.
Day after tomorrow.
Cheers. Yep.
Yeah.
This should be fun to watch. Yeah, maybe.
Blackmore Rules. Oh, you know what? I didn't get my Deep Purple stuff off the wall. Oh well.
I got one right there I can reach for.
Yeah.
I know he's whatever he was working on for you was on its way here.
Oh, really? Oh, cool.
It's actually going to be coming to me because he's got a package coming to me, and I'll just forward it to you.
Awesome.
Yep. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Yeah, we're getting lots of happy Thanksgivings. Up the irons.
Yep.
Right on. Well, let's get into it. Anybody got any shout outs?
You know what? Shout out to our sponsor, Stalkup Law. Brett Stalkup and team are active and really going for broke, and they we're grateful for them for checking out in the show and then helping us out in our time of need. And also County Line Records, they're showing this even as it's happening. They bought a big TV and they put it at the one end of the store. So
what's up, County Line Records?
Over at the metal section. So
I've only been there once, but loved it. Spent some money there.
Wait till you go to the new one. That's 3,000 square feet of Vinyl Bliss and Licorice Pizza.
I'm gonna tell you what, and those owners treated us like we were family, all of us, and not just
Well,
they didn't know me from Adam, but
the mom and pop shop, and there you go.
Right on. Well, I got a couple of things I want to show real quick that I want to talk about the Quiet Room. So this is the test pressing for the Quiet Room's Introspective, very much in the vein of Fates Warning and Queensryche, and I've always loved their 2 albums that they put out. They finally got put on vinyl, and the record plant screwed up the vinyl royally, but the record company didn't notice that the vinyl was screwed up royally until they sent out about 30 copies to people. And people started like, hey, the music on here is not
Was it Steely Dan?
Quiet Room. So the record plant made a huge error and put the wrong music on it. So the test pressing is correct. So what we approved was correct. What they pressed was wrong. So
I would argue they put better music on it.
You think? I don't know about that. I really like this Quiet Room. This is one of my favorites from the 90s. This is one of these bands that didn't care what was going on in the 90s, and they just wanted to do that Queensryche style. So, but yes, Eviction is what is on here. It's literally all over the internet. I've seen it all over Instagram. People like I said, 30 copies got out. So if you got one, you're probably going to be able to exchange it for a good copy because they're being repressed, obviously. Or you can keep it and you got something pretty weird and special, I guess. It's not the record company's fault at all. I mean, what they approved was correct. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're going to repress. I'm sure they're going to be sending emails out to everybody. But if anybody from here bought one, I'm just letting you know that I actually got a really nice text from a buddy of mine who bought it. We call him the Metal Theologian. And he's like, dude, this Quiet Room is kick ass. And I was like, yeah. I said, is it thrash? He goes, yeah, it's killer. And I'm like, that's Eviction.
He's probably got an original Eviction too and didn't even catch it.
No, he doesn't. He had never heard of Eviction. Right. So yeah, he's like, well, guess I'm gonna have to order the Eviction now. And I'm like, yeah. So anyhow,
I see.
but
I
also
see
I
what it
wanted to
is.
show,
It's a
and I know,
it's a ploy to sell more records. I got it now.
man, that ain't no ploy. I'll tell you one thing. That was I can't think of a nice way to say it, but in military terms, it's a cluster. You know what?
Yeah,
So
gotcha.
yeah, it was not a happy time with being on the phone with the record company.
That's pretty
And
good. The quiet room went to the loud room real fast.
yeah, yep. But anyhow, the I also just approved the new Bethesda, which is phenomenal melodic metal from Sweden, featuring the members of Vinay Damani and the ex-singer from Narnia, whose name is Herman Pasquale. Harrison, which hasn't gone on sale yet, but will be soon. Big announcement coming out on that. So Harrison's going on sale soon. That is Can't Kill Us. And if you don't know who Harrison is, it's basically the guys from Hyrax doing their own thing now, minus Caton, of course. They were in the band for 14 years, I think, those guys.
15 or
And now
16,
they're
I think, but
something like that. Yeah.
I'm doing a nice little art piece for them. I did one for them already for the hit song Concho. And,
Concho, yep.
And I'm doing an Axes of Death piece of art that I think is going to be spectacular. So working on that now. Looks great.
And
when it goes on sale, it will be if you buy the vinyl, the first 20 or I think it's 25 people, they're sending out an autographed 8x10 glossy photo, which is really cool. So those are actually being signed and shipped right now. So they're on. It's almost done. So I'm looking for. I really like it. I actually think they chose the worst song as their first single, in my opinion. What do you think, John?
Mata el Diablo?
Huh?
Which is what? Mata el Diablo? Yeah. I mean, I like Concho better because it's just a straight up.
Oh, it's just a straight up. Yeah, punk influenced thrasher. Yeah.
But it's only a minute and 13 seconds?
Yeah, it's like a Hyrax song.
Yeah. I was about to say, don't sleep on that new Hyrax album. That's one of my favorites of the year. I've been playing that nonstop.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's hard to get. I actually had to get it through Scott, but do you still have any copies of it?
I don't have it on vinyl.
I don't know if we have any left or not on No Less Metal, but you guys can check if you're looking for the new Hyrax. But yeah, we had vinyl and CDs, I think.
It's old school. It's like 25 minutes of 80s, straight up 80s thrash.
Yeah,
11 songs, 25 minutes.
Yeah.
I'll be quick on that. Anyhow, also just got a test pressing on the new, and this one's not even been announced yet, but it'll be coming out early 2026, going on sale, I think, in December. But this is the Completely Covered in Black by Patriarchs in Black. It is freaking fantastic. It is like I love when my favorite bands cover my other favorite bands, and that's what they do. And that's the EP that came out this year that Steve is holding up there, and that's got 2 of the songs that are on this album. The rest of the songs are exclusive to that EP, and it's all new stuff on here. I think they kept the Twisted Sister song and the Peter Gabriel song from there. And then all the rest, they do like 2 or 3 Kiss covers. They do a couple Zeppelin covers, a couple Sabbath covers, including the very Super Czar, which is a very difficult song. They got a female like opera singer to sing on it. It's really well done. And then I know this one will make John super happy, but we just got the test pressings for 6 Feet Under, Bringer of Blood, and 6 Feet Under, Unburied, and both went on sale this past weekend. And Rob did a bang up job on those. They sound great on vinyl. So
I lied. I'm going to do a quick shout out. Go to the Creeper Facebook page and check out the animation that they had done.
That is amazing. That animation,
one of the coolest animations I've ever seen.
It's an AI animation, but it is so cool.
Awesome. Well, that's Matt's story. That's the guy that did the original, the foundation for what we did on the cover, Scott. And that's him. He's a pretty talented guy, and
that animation is killer.
Yeah, it looks pretty killer. All right.
Yeah. Anyhow, and then one more thing. Woo! Volume 5 of No Less Metal Records is out. I think it's $2, $3, $4 on there, but it's got 16 tracks, including some exclusive tracks for stuff coming out here, including the new Patriarchs in Black, the new Harrison, new Chris Manning coming out next year. There's a bunch of stuff on here. So
I actually pulled I actually pulled that last Chris Manning record out and played it on the new sound system, and man, it does sound great.
I just think a great album. Have Rob master it.
What's that?
I think he needs to have Rob master it.
Who?
Chris.
Yeah, that would be cool. He doesn't though. Anyhow, that's it for me. I'm sorry. I just wanted to show some people some of that stuff because a lot of that stuff is either on sale or going on sale. The 6 Feet Under stuff is on sale. I don't know if you like the first two 6 Feet Under. Bringer of Blood kind of returns to that old school death metal sound, which is a bit of groove going like those two albums. So I was kind of surprised how heavy that album was. The other album is Unburied, is actually like leftover tracks. It's a collection of tracks they recorded and that weren't put on any albums. So anyhow, that's it for me. I guess we need to do
hang on. Production value.
At least you got pants on this time.
Yeah, that was embarrassing the last time when you didn't wear pants. You probably didn't even hear us.
What? No.
Well, we were saying at least this time.
Good grief, man! I thought I had 30 seconds, and I grabbed the stack, and it cratered. So, all right. Usually I do 2 picks for the pick of the week, but I just have one because it sort of crosses. We can go into a million explanations on the new wave of British heavy metal. Is it rock? Is it metal? Is it whatever? I don't care. But to me, this is the only one you need.
Oh man, that is so good.
Holocaust, the Nightcomers. If anybody knows this record, I don't know what it would take to find it, but find it.
Okay? It's been repressed.
Yeah, High Roller just repressed
it. High Roller repressed it, yep.
Okay, this is an original Phoenix pressing.
Yeah.
It's a little beat up, but Smoke and Valves, Death and Glory, Come On Back, Mavrock, Crying Shame, Heavy Metal Mania, Push It Around. I mean, this thing is a scorcher. This actually sounds like metal to me. Some of that other stuff is just hair metal disguised as some other weird genre. But anyway, if you can find Holocaust, the Nightcomers, find it, slap it in your collection, put it in your player, and let it rip.
And I actually like all the stuff they did under Holocaust.
Yeah.
It went downhill when they changed their name to Hologram, but
right. But anyway, that's my pick of the week for a rock and metal.
Okay, let's get into showing off some autographs. So the title says autographed vinyl CDs and band merch, but it sounds like we're going to be showing mostly just vinyl and maybe some CDs. So we'll do another episode down the road for merch because I got all kinds of merch too. I only pulled records as well. So yeah, let's get into it. Go ahead, Steve. We'll go first with you.
I'll start with one
that's share stories, whatever.
One that's relatively recent. So I was in Brazil in 2016, I think. And when my wife and I were leaving, we ran into Accept in the airport in Curitiba, Brazil, which is it's actually a pretty big city. It's like 13 million people, but it's not one of the major cities in Brazil. And to run, and I would have walked right by him had it not been for Mark Tornillo and his little white goatee thing he's got going.
Uh-huh.
And so I took a picture. I should have pulled it down. I took a picture with him at the airport. And I always wanted to see him again so that I could get that signed. And they finally, they never come to Atlanta or they haven't come to Atlanta since 2016, since I saw that. So finally I drove to Nashville for one of their shows last year and I got the picture signed. And I got like 5 of the records, but that was on the Blind Rage tour when I saw him. So I pulled the Blind Rage that I had signed. And so this is a picture from the newest tour. What was the new album, Scott?
Yeah. I don't know.
Humanoid.
Don't ask
I think
Scott.
it's humanoid.
Yeah, humanoid. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the picture from the humanoid. I did the meet and greet. It was like $50 to meet the band, and they would sign up to 5 things. So it was
That's
cool,
cool.
though. They hung out with us and talked to us for a while. It was a good time.
I know you're next, John, but I'm just gonna pony off that one real quick, just because. Speaking of Mark and TT,
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, again, I went to see Accept at one of their early shows with Mark. It was one of the, when he first joined the band at it was in Hollywood at whatever the club was at the time. I can't remember, one of those big name clubs that all the hair bands came out of. And
was that for Stalingrad or was that Flag of the Nations? I can't remember which one was.
Blood of the Nations. Yeah, it was for Blood of the Nations.
Yeah.
So anyhow, so I went ahead and I brought my a couple Accept records to get signed, and I had all the Accept guys sign that one. And then as soon as Mark came, was there, I flipped it over and I'm like, here, sign this one. I didn't have him sign the Accept record because he didn't sing on it. So anyhow, that was one of the ones I was going to show, and I just figured I'd jump off your story since you showed it.
And let me tell you, if you guys haven't seen them recently, he's in his 70s and he still sounds as good as he did in 1985. It's amazing how he's kept his voice compared to a lot of the other screamers, and he hits those highs just like he used to.
Yeah, well, he's young. He has a young.
Yeah,
I don't know what the word is. He looks young on stage. You know what I mean? He's got all the energy, and he's thin and fit, so that helps too.
Well, some like Dee Snider, he's kind of the same way. He's 70 something, and he can still perform with the best of them. And then our buddy James Rivera, fangs and all, he's still doing the high notes and whatever. They're a little different, but and now that Halford got his hernia fixed and his back fixed, and I think he got a little more fit and sober, and man, he's still right there with them too. So there's some guys out there that either learn to take care of themselves after the fact, but I just did a Disturbing the Priest episode with bands that we think that should retire, and that when that comes out, I'll let you know, because that's it was a hot sport.
I'm going to see 2 of them next year.
Let me guess: Motley Crue and Five Finger Death Punch.
No, definitely not. No, I'm going. I got tickets for AC/DC and Guns N' Roses.
Ugh. Okay, yeah, that both of those were on a list, not mine, but anyway. Okay, so am I up?
Yep.
Yeah, you're up. Sorry,
I just pulled vinyl. I have, and now that my room's all organized again, I just have things in a bin of stuff that's signed. So I'm gonna rip through a couple of these real fast, just because. And
cool.
one thing about autographs is I like to get the autograph myself. I don't like to buy an autograph off of the internet. I know some people do that. I don't. So only 2 of these that I will show today were gotten by somebody else, but there's a story behind the one of them. But my first one is a Both, and it's a gold signature right here, and the album is gold. And he's a real character. I don't know if you've ever been around him.
He's hilarious.
He's a really funny guy and very engaging and very nice. And I know that he's had some substance abuse problems, mostly alcohol, but he's got that worked out. And I thought he was a real funny, engaging guy. This is one of my prized possessions. This is Annihilator, Texas. Alex Dominguez, longtime friend, he signed that for me. Here's one that I know I wasn't around when this guy was hot. Louis Armstrong. I found this at an estate sale, and yes, sure enough, it's signed over here, and I had the signature verified, and sure enough, it's Louis Armstrong's. So I don't know. I threw that one out there. This is one of my favorite. They came to Dallas and did a recording. Dave Chastain and Leather Leone, both of which signed that one. And one more for this little group. Obviously,
nice.
DRI. And of course, there's only 2 original members, Spike Cassidy and Kurt Brecht, so that's who signed the record. And
nice.
But once again, I love to interact with the band and get them to, at least talk to them and get the story. But the Both thing was really funny because he was just, he's a nut. And even without the makeup, he's still a nut. You're up.
Cool. I got a I don't know. I've got so much here. I don't even know what to show, but this is what I'm going to show first. So this is the very last Vengeance Rising studio album, obviously the CD version of it, signed by Roger Martinez and the drummer on the inside. When I've met him several times. He passed away this year. But as some people know, I actually ended up singing in this band for 2 years. So when I first went to out to California to start practicing with them it was just supposed to be a one-show deal when I sang for him. So I flew out there to do a week's worth of practices because none of those guys had played together before. They hadn't played together in years, is what I'm trying to say, the original members. So I learned all the songs, flew out there, and after the very first practice, I brought a bunch of crap. And I brought this original pressing of the very first pressing of Once Dead, their second album. And as you can see, it's signed on the top by all the members. And they're all like, dude, you're in the band. Why you want us to sign? I learned a really important lesson about autographs from Eric Carr because, I was a huge fan of this band. It was supposed to just be a one-off gig. And what Eric Carr said was, when he went to try out for Kiss, he brought a Kiss record with him. And afterwards he had, I guess it was Paul and Gene, he had him sign the record. And once again, they asked him why are you having us sign a record? You might be in the band. And he's like, I might not be in the band and I might never see you guys again. So I'm going to get my record signed. So I took that and so I do that now. I don't care. I'm not embarrassed to ask for an autograph. If it's an artist I like, why wouldn't you want to sign it? It's no different than having a piece of art on your wall. You want the artist to sign it. So anyhow, I ended up getting this and several other things signed at the very first Vengeance practice, which we were called Vengeance right up until the day of the show. And then the day of the show, they changed it to Once Dead. And then the name of the recording for the DVD they recorded was called Return with a Vengeance. So anyhow, and I love this album too. And I think I sang almost every song on here. All right, that's my first one. Jump again, Stevie.
So I got this one, man. It's got to be at least a decade now. This is one of the earlier High Roller releases, and it's Strapato from Slaughter. And man, I looked everywhere for an original of this record. I couldn't find it. Discogs was still a newer thing at the time, and they just didn't have a lot of what I was looking for. So I found it on eBay for like $20 maybe, shipped from Canada. I didn't realize who I was buying it from, and it said his name. The name of his channel was his name, but I was actually buying it from Dave. The main guy behind the band, Dave Hewson, and so he messaged me back, "Hey, do you want it signed?" I was like, "Why would I want it?" And then I realized who it was, and we started messaging back and forth. And he ended up sending me this for like $5 each. He also sent me this. He also sent me this, which I think this one is the Nocturnal Hell. So demos and EPs. He also sent me a couple 7-inches that were free on top of that were signed. And we had a little back and forth for a while there, but really cool guy. If you guys haven't checked out this Slaughter record, this is a 10-star record. It's just
a ripper, dude.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good call. They're not bootlegs. If you're asking us,
these were all officially released. They were small. It was all small batch stuff, but it was all officially released by Dave.
Well, and there's a lot from Canada that we don't see in the States.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe some of our Canadian listeners can vouch for that, but there's a lot of stuff that goes on up there that we don't see until
this is on Agipunk, which is they've got stuff all over Europe, and then I don't know this one, Ripping Storm Records. So, but you can find it. You can find all this stuff online now. At the time, it was harder to find though.
I have a original pressing of that and a repressing. Unfortunately, the original pressing cracked. So
cracked.
Oof.
That's not
right
good.
in half.
Wow.
Yep. It was somebody contacted me like, "Hey, you want this record?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "It's in perfect shape," and he goes, "It's all yours." And so I said, "Yeah, I'll take it." And he shipped it to me, and the post office cracked it, and he had it very well packaged. They had to really rough it up because it was in a box with cardboard on either side and bubble wrap, and and they still managed to screw it up. Anyhow, you're up again.
Well, I got in this little batch. They all have a little bit of little tiny stories, but I had Schmier and Mikey sign this. This is a promo copy of Mad Butcher, and I think Schmier hates every sound man in every venue, no matter where they are, because I watched him just tear into the sound people at this venue, and I thought, oh gosh, good luck to me getting it signed. But he was very cordial to the audience, so I got that signed. Exhumed is one of my favorite bands, and if you don't have this is a pick of the week too. This Anatomy is Destiny. You gotta, and the whole band signed it. I loved Enforcer at one point in time. This is when they were actually a speed metal band and not trying to sell commercial music with a bunch of chicks draped all over them. This is on Heavy Artillery, all signed by the original band members. Scott, well, both of you should be able to relate to this. This is Gamacide, and all the original members, and we have the unfortunate notice that the bass player is no longer with us. But anyway, I got this signed back in the 90s when I saw them by mistake. By the way, I didn't know anything about Gamacide because I was going to Rigor Mortis and saw them open for that. Havoc, become friends with them.
Oh, I forgot to pull some Havoc. There you go.
Done a t-shirt design for them. This is one of my favorite records from them. Your Time Is Up. And then Fraser Dawson, the Fraser Dawson 2913 should be able to relate to this. This is Hellstar, Remnants of War.
Good one.
Signed by the original band members at that time, and except for you can't really read it because it's signed with a magic marker, but it's James used to go by the moniker Bill Lionel.
Yep.
So it's signed by Bill Lionel on there, which is really kind of funny, and we'll have to have him on and explain how the whole Bill Lionel thing happened. But anyway, that's my
That's
staff.
impressive.
That's my
Tip Fam says he has an original pressing of Bonded by Blood with Paul Bailoff on it.
Dude, that's
very cool.
That's a find right there. So you're up, Scott.
Yep. All right. I don't know. Like I said, I've got so much stuff here. I'll do this one next. I wasn't sure what to pull and what to show. I mean, much like you guys, I've played in bands and been involved for decades, so I've got so much crap signed. But I've met Uli Roth.
Oh, yeah.
Guitar player from Scorpions 3 times, I think. And each time I've seen him, I've had him sign stuff. But the second time I met him was in Anaheim, and we bought meet and greets for afterwards. And I had already, that was actually was the third time I met him. So, and then the first time hang on a second, I'm getting confused here. All right, anyhow, the third time I met him was in Anaheim, and I was just standing in line. We were kind of in the back of the line, and if you don't know Uli and he's just signing stuff, this is how he signs it. It's basically UJR, his initials. That's generally how he signs stuff. Unless he knows you, or you strike up a conversation with him, then he'll sign it like this. Ulrich John Roth. So anyhow, standing in line to get this stuff signed, everybody got a poster that we could get signed, and then you were allowed to take a few other things to get signed. And so he signed this one first, and as you can see, it's just got the UJR on it. And then I was like, hi Uli, nice to see you again, is what I said. And he stopped from his signing. He looked up at me and he goes, oh, and he shook my hand, and he's like, I remember you from and he told me exactly. Not only did he tell me exactly the 2 shows I was at that I met him from last time, he signed the poster and he wrote the cities and the years of those 3 shows that I saw him at without me telling him what shows I went to. The dude's got an incredible memory for a guy in his 70s. I was amazed. Super nice guy. I stood with him the second time I met him, or maybe the first. One of the 2 times I met him, I sat with him the entire time he was signing autographs. Didn't get to meet Michael Schenker because of it, because I was with Uli, but I didn't mind because I got to hang out with Uli for almost an hour and hear his stories. But anyhow, he wouldn't sign. It was funny because when I was watching him, he wouldn't sign the Scorpions album with the girl on the front of it, Virgin Killer.
Virgin Killer.
Because a couple of people brought it up, and he was like, do you have anything else that I can sign for you? Because I really don't like signing those. I really hate that album cover. So I was kind of surprised to see him do that. But other people told me that he has signed it for them. So but I guess he just doesn't like it. In any case,
I've
Uli
seen
John
some where
Roth,
he purposely covers the boobs and with his signature.
yeah, on this one too. If you look
Oh
right
yeah,
on the
there you go. Yeah.
yeah, it's just the nipples covered by his signature.
Well, I'm gonna segue what you're doing because you did that to.
Go ahead.
But I have one of those, and then the same. I saw this. I saw Uli John, Michael Schenker, Legs Diamond, Ronnie Montrose at the Sunken Gardens in San Antonio, Texas, and I know some of our listeners were there. And once again, Michael Schenker was kind of a douche, and we could only sign one thing at a time, so I had to go back around in the line and back around in the line, and of course, you see where he signed it, and then Uli was very, very accommodating, and he was basically sitting there reading a book. Nobody was over there getting an autograph from him, so I went over and engaged in a conversation with him, and I guess to your point, he thought I was a friend, so he, signed it completely, Uli John Roth.
He would be the main guy I would want to sign it over.
This is kind of my my mantra here is be nice, and they'll give you the full signature.
I have that one signed too, but it's on my wall, so I didn't feel like pulling it down. It's like high, so I would have to get a ladder to get it down. I was like, forget it. I'll show the other one. I don't even think most people even care or know about the Electric Sun stuff, but I love the Electric Sun stuff.
Yeah, that's a great record, by the way. And people were put off by the symphonic nature of it, but come on, man. All that Vivaldi and whatever. Ask any of the guitar shredders who's the heaviest composer out there, and even in metal, and they'll say Vivaldi and the like. So anyway,
I would have thought they would say Leslie West.
Maybe. Well, he was. He was
Tip Fan wins
all aspects of life, including his music writing.
Tip Fan wins.
So I got a bunch of Scott signed stuff all over the place in here, so that doesn't count. He just gives that stuff away. So I've got a lot of Raven stuff signed. I see them every time they come to town. They come to town at least once a year. But I wanted to pull one that nobody ever talks about. This is kind of an underrated record, and this is kind of where they were getting back on track, in my opinion. But Extermination.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's just signed by the Gallagher brothers because Mike Heller, even though he went on tour with them for this was the first tour he did with them. He wasn't in the band yet. The stuff with Heller is fantastic. If you haven't heard the last few albums where they've sped back up to the speed of their early stuff, you're really missing out. And actually, speaking of that, this just came in the mail about a week ago. This is their newest record, Can't Take Away the Fire. I think it's only 5 or 6 songs, but
it's good. It's really good.
Signed by the band. There's only 1,000 of them. Hopefully, they put it out on LP too. But right now, it's CD only. But man, it's a fantastic album. And the Gallagher brothers are always really cool. Scott came out here for one of the shows, and they hung out for a good hour after the show.
Yeah, and they were just, here's a guitar pick, here's strings, here's
like 20 minutes with you. It wasn't just a hey, I'll sign this and walk away. They talked, they drank with us. There was where did they come from? Like Japan or something, or there was some guys that came from out of the country to see them at the show, and they had like 15 records, and they took time, signed every one of them. Really cool, and they're always really nice. So if you ever get a chance,
put on a spectacular show considering it was COVID. It was COVID era, so there was
maybe like 15 people there, and man,
it was nobody there.
They played like they were playing for a stadium. It was fantastic.
Yep, they were great. I really enjoyed that show. Yeah, John.
Okay. Well, I already showed you Abath, but how about all 3 members of this record? This has got Abath, Demon Oz, and my favorite black metal drummer, Horg.
He's one of the fastest drummers I have ever seen.
And solid, and just a huge hulking guy, but so nice. Okay, I know this is probably controversial, but I don't really care. I did a poster for Inquisition, and I in turn ended up with this leather bound, I'm sure it's goat leather, and stitched with blood. But anyway, they were kind enough to set me up with one of these, and and then they both, Tom and Incubus, both signed on the inside. So I like it better when they sign on the outside, but this was kind of cool, and it's kind of, I guess they ran out of goat's blood and couldn't sign on the outside. But anyway, so here's kind of a fun one. I'm in what was that then known as CD Trader in San Antonio, and when you go to San Antonio, there's Hog Wild Records, and there used to be CD Trader, and Rick Ireland used to own it. A friend, Gordon Ireland, his son, now owns the collection because Rick has unfortunately assumed room temperature and gone off to another plane. But so I'm trolling through the J's in the metal section, and I pulled this out and was holding it in my hand, and the guy next to me says, "Oh, that's a great record." And I says, "Oh, are you familiar with it?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm Bobby Jazz Armbeck. I'm in the band." And I said, "Really?" And sure enough, I looked on the picture on the back, and it was him. And so I took it to the front, and I told Rick, I said, "Hey, I'm going to buy this, and can I have Bobby sign it?" And he said, "Of course." So he did, right there in the record store. So
Nice.
Here's one of my go to the grave type. Gotta have it. It may be buried with me. I had a set of the Kiss originals, and it's the Canadian pressing. And I had every record, all three of the records signed, all three of the slip cases signed, and then the record jacket signed. And when I got into some desperate financial times, I started to part it out, but I kept this one, and the one I kept was Hotter Than Hell. So anyway, but yeah, obviously, in fact, I even tried to see if this would play, and it does still. So if you're going to have them sign your vinyl, tell them to use the Sharpie, and it'll still play.
Yep, got one of those right there. Actually, I probably can't see it from here, but
next,
he actually signed the vinyl. Yep, that was on the reunion tour. They got signed it. Anyhow, I'm up.
Yeah, you're up.
I got a lot of stuff signed by this band. I've been a fan of this band since literally I was a kid. But this is Molly Hatchet.
Oh.
But this one here is kind of unique. I've met him a few times. There you go. But I went to see him this one time at the State Fair in New Mexico. It was not with there was only one original band member left in the band, which was Bobby Hlubeck, and Dave Hlubeck, and that's who signed this one. But in any case, I got there early. I ended up getting in early. I watched the sound check, and it was a weird show. Dave was staring at me like I was a ghost. Dave Hlubeck from the stage, because there wasn't a whole lot of people in there. It was just me standing in the audience thing, and them up there doing their sound check and playing. So I watched the entire sound check, and after the sound check was over, one of the roadies comes up and he goes, "Hey," he goes, "do you mind sticking around after the show? Dave would like to talk to you." I was like, "Okay." So they had a meet and greet afterwards, which I had not paid for that, so I wasn't able to go in for that. I didn't even know they had that paid meet and greet. But I stuck around anyhow, and then after the show, sure enough, they came out for me, and I got to meet the whole band. And Dave Hlubeck. Well, first of all, everybody there that got something signed was getting something like this signed. It was either the first album or second album or Beating the Odds. Nobody was getting the newer album signed. So when I walked in, I gave them the brand new album, which had just come out, which is this one, Warriors of the Rainbow Bridge. And I had the whole band sign it. And these are the guys who played on the album, including Dave Hlubeck and what's the name of the singer? Phil McCormick, who passed away not too long ago. But anyhow, I was just, why would you want people who didn't play on it to sign your album? But everybody was having the whole band sign this album. But anyhow, got to spend some time hanging out with Dave. But this particular album was actually owned by a DJ at a radio station who was apparently a good-looking girl. I don't know her personally.
Shocking.
Yeah, I bought this from her. This is one I bought. I've had them sign things, but I bought this one back when records were selling for like nothing on eBay. You can get records for like $3, $4, $5. I was looking on this one, and they wanted like $10 for it because it was autographed. And then so I messaged the person, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm interested in that." I said, "Did you get it signed yourself?" And she goes, yeah, she told me the radio station she was from and everything. And she goes, you're gonna get a kick out of what he wrote on there because it's pretty funny. And I was like, all right, cool. So I bought it. Came in the mail. It says, to a honey of a woman I'd love to spend some more time in depth with. Thanks a million, Dave Flubeck. And then it says, nice toys.
Oops.
A little bit of chauvinism going on there. I don't know, but she thought it was humorous. And anyhow. So, yep, a $10 record from decades ago. I don't even know if this person's still alive or not, but yeah, I picked this thing up. I'm just a Molly Hatchet fanatic, so I just thought it was a kind of unique item. It's also a white label promo, and it's got the gold stamp on the back, so it's kind of a unique little piece of rock and roll memorabilia. Molly Hatchet, you're up again, Steve.
Yeah, so the Molly Hatchet I have here is man, this is still the greatest album cover of all time. I don't care what anybody says. Man, I remember seeing this when I was a kid and thinking this was going to be like the heaviest metal I've ever heard, and blown away by what it actually was. This one was actually a gift from brother Billy Hurst at Riverbend Records. This is before he opened the store. He was buying collections for it, and he bought this collection from a musician in Nashville, and he had all the Molly Hatchet records signed. Did he send you one, Scott?
No.
Okay, so he had like 5 of them, and he called me up. He's like, "Hey, I've got the first 5 Molly Hatchet records all signed. Which one do you want?" And of course, I wanted the debut.
Oh,
really,
I forgot. I do have a Motorhead album signed. I got to meet.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
So
the other one,
yeah,
this was cool. So when Vinnie Vincent first came out of the shadows after disappearing for 20 years, he did his first appearance here at the Kiss Expo in Atlanta. It was an experience and a half. That dude is an absolute nut job. Every weird thing you hear about him is not weird enough to describe this guy. He was nice. He was personable. Don't get me wrong, but I got a bunch of stuff signed, and this was one of them. I actually had another Vinnie Vincent that was signed back in the 90s when he was doing some of the earlier Kiss Expos, and I ended up selling that to a friend who really wanted something, and I wanted to get something signed myself. So I got this, and then I got the first 2 Vinnie Vincent Invasions signed by him. And then the first one, Robert Fleischman was also at the expo. So the first one is actually signed by Robert Fleischman and by Vinnie Vincent, which is kind of cool. Because I don't think Robert Fleischman's out doing signing events and stuff,
No, that's a rare bird right
if
there.
You guys even know who Robert Fleischman is.
he actually did a stint in Journey for a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, he was just a very non-metal choice for the first Vinnie Vincent Invasion album.
Yeah.
Can I piggyback on that one real quick?
Yep, sure.
I was driving home from practice one night, Ultimatum band practice, and usually I always play CDs, but on that particular night I didn't have a CD in the player, so the radio came on, and it was the local rock station, and they were having a contest, and there's like the first person who calls and can tell us what band the members of Slaughter were in before they were called Slaughter, win free backstage passes to meet the band. So I ended up, obviously it was Vinnie Vincent Invasion, so I ended up getting to meet the guys in Slaughter, who are all really nice guys, by the way, and you can kind of see their signatures on there. But of course, being there, and this is actually my favorite Slaughter album. I know everybody else hates this album, but I think this album's fantastic. Kind of has a 70s retro vibe going on. It reminds me of T-Rex at times. But anyhow, so I brought a couple Slaughter things to get signed, but then I also brought my Vinnie Vincent Invasion, All Systems Go, and handed it to Mark. And it was funny because he actually stopped when I handed it to him to sign. He was like, "Oh, an old schooler, eh?" And he sat there and he talked to me for a few minutes just because I handed him this CD. But yeah, he signed it. He didn't sign on the cover, which is what I wanted, but that's all right. He signed it nonetheless.
Okay, and, I'm going to piggyback on that, Scott. My name is somewhere in the credit, is somewhere in the thank yous in that.
In this one,
yeah. So look around in there, and I had actually done some. That's a concept. That front cover art is one of my concepts. Vinny wanted them all floating in space in front of the V, like they were like exiting out of where the crook of the V or whatever. But anyway, the label nixed that and pulled it out, and that was the result. But I actually worked the shows that Vinnie Vincent did in Texas, and let me tell you something about Mark Slaughter. that dude can absolutely shred with the best of them.
Oh yeah,
he can shred like Reb Beach. He can shred like just name a that era of guitar shredder, and he basically, they came out as a 3-piece and did their own sound check. Vinny didn't show up until right before they were going to go on stage. But the interesting thing was Vinny had signed with Carvin amps, and they had a backline of empty Carvin amps. Not one of them was active. And they all had red LEDs, so it looked like they were on. And Vinny was playing through a Randall head with like an orange practice amp with a microphone on it. That was his rig.
There's a lot of guys. There's a lot of famous musicians that play with Fender Blues, and they've got stacks behind them, but they got a little Fender Blues amp, or it's crazy.
I remember when they were offloading, I thought, gosh, that's an awful lot. But you know what? Not one of them had any electronics in it. They were completely empty. But I'm telling you right now that what was most impressive, not about that dirty little secret about what Vinny was actually playing through, but the fact that Mark Slaughter absolutely just ripped on guitar, and he could play and he could sing at the same time. And I just thought, why do they need Vinny? Just call it Slaughter. I even mentioned to Bobby, who I'm friends with him, the drummer, who now is with Lita Ford, by the way. Shout out to him. And I said, why don't you just in 86 the weirdo and just become Slaughter? And he said, oh, you just never know. And Bobby was their first choice for drummer, but he had already moved on to other bigger and better things. And they had Blas Elias, another Houston drummer, rest in peace. But anyway, just kind of a funny story. But yeah, super engaging guys, really nice dudes. I've actually eaten barbecue at Dana Strum's house in Canoga Park, California. Funny story there too, but we won't get into it because I don't mean to steal your thunder.
That's all right. Who's up? I don't even remember who's up. Was it
Steve?
Steve just finished. Okay, Ken, Steve, go again.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
I don't care.
This is a recent one. I might have shown this on here before, but Corner has been one of my favorite bands since like 91 when I first heard them. And I've always wanted to see them live. They never play the U.S. They hadn't played the U.S. in I think 30 years when I saw them earlier this year. And when they announced they were doing for $30 meet and greets, I grabbed all my records and paid the $30. And I was there an hour early to meet them. Really cool. Again, they were only like they limited it to like 20 people per show, which is cool because they hang out with you for like 30 or 40 minutes, just shooting the shit. And, talk quite a bit about the new album that was coming out, which is one of my favorites of the year. But got a bunch of my Coroner stuff signed, and again, just one of my all-time favorites. This is really probably my favorite. I want to say this is the album when I got into them. Was this 91? Yeah. So this is the album when I got into them, and I went backwards and got into their less progressive stuff. But man, you can't go wrong. And if you guys haven't bought that new Coroner record, man, holy shit, it is amazing. So there you go, Coroner.
Okay, Fraser Dawson just asked me a question. He says, I got a question for you, John. You meet Osric Tentacles to get your stuff signed by them. I'll be so freaking surprised if you met them. Of course I met them, because they played at the Abyss in Houston with our buddy Chuck Roast from what was the name of his band? Yacht Rock or something. Anyway, he's the one that arranged for the show. It was a one-off show. I think it was 96. And Osric Tentacles absolutely slayed. And yes, I got a poster signed. I got an album signed by them. And
did they slay or did they like groove? I feel like
they grooved. You're right. You're right, Steve. They floated through the omniverse is what they did. But I don't care what anyone thinks or says until you go to the show and watch them just absolutely mesmerize you with not only their playing and their talent, but the light show is always incredible. And they had the fruit salad light show there touring with them. And yes, Chuck Roast is the proprietor of the Vinyl Edge, which has been in Houston, a Houston fixture for the last 45 years or more. But anyway, yes, Frazier, I did meet them. I got stuff signed by them, and it was right about the time that I saw this band at the Axiom in Houston, Creator, and I had them sign Flag of Hate, and they barely spoke English, and I think this is so classic Mila. Der Tod der Welten, death to the world.
Nice.
And they were complete savages on stage. And I think I'm trying to think, Soothsayer from Canada was one of the bands, and man, they were so good. Scott, you and I have talked about this particular album and this particular artist, but Frank Marino is absolutely a buzz bomb guitarist, and
always wanted to meet him. That's literally a bucket list. I always wanted to meet him.
Yeah,
I was so excited when he was going on tour last year, and then he canceled the tour because of health issues.
Yeah, he plays Texas really often, and has all over. For all over his career, and so I was fortunate enough to get him to sign this. I was a driver for Napalm Death during one of the Summer Slaughter tours and got them to sign all my Napalm stuff. All super nice guys. Barney Greenway is just a real treat to be around. Here's one for you, Scott. How about this? Das Ted Nugent and Survival of the Fittest Live. That's a really great record. And then here's one we can all agree on. And nobody knows this band. Please go buy their stuff. Phantasm. This is Caton from Hyrax. Gene Hoglan did the drumming, and then a guy named Ron McGovney, who was the original bass player from Metallica. No, it wasn't Cliff Burton. It was Ron McGovney. So anyway, those are some cool. And in fact, I had Caton sign this at a really infamous show at Walters on Washington in Houston, and Frazier was there. Desablade was there. All the heavy hitters from H-Town were there. It was. People were literally swinging from the rafters. It was incredible. You're
right on. I'm gonna just show some real fast and not give the long stories because we're running out of time. But Exciter, my band played with them. Matter of fact, that's a ticket stub called Thrashmageddon. Exciter, Fueled by Fire, Ravaged, Armored Assassin, and Ultimatum, Dread, Torture Victim. That was the bands that played. But yeah, John Rickey was really, really cool. We just sat and talked music and equipment and all kinds of stuff for hours with the guy. He was just super nice. We just had time to blow. But anyhow, I did get him to sign this one record while I was there. Like I said, I've never been afraid to ask people for an autograph. I told you about the Accept story earlier, and so I had the whole band sign this one. I don't know how well it's going to show. Some of it's in silver, some of it's in black. But this next one is actually also Accept, but I bought this one. And I don't usually buy autographs, but I had to buy it because whoops, let me see if I can get that on the camera right here. There you go. It's actually signed to Scott. So I was like, I was at a record show, and he was like, and I was like, oh, I gotta buy that. It's signed by the whole band. So
that's a great live album too.
Yeah, it's I love this. I never could say it right. Kazuku Ban. Steve is a friend of mine. This is Abattoir, but
yeah, record right there. That record is so underrated.
But yeah, you can see it. I mean, this is pretty early thrash. This was like recorded in like '84, and it's pretty raw, gutsy thrash for '84. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot. I don't even think Megadeth had an album out yet in '84, did they? So
I mean,
Metallica had Kill 'Em All come out in '83, and then Ride the Lightning came out in '84, I believe.
No, I think was it Killing Is My Business, and
was that '84?
It might have been 84.
It was 85. You might be right.
Yeah.
You guys were alive for that. I'm joking. So was I. But
yeah, well, we were alive, but we weren't like 6.
I was just kidding. What 85?
Killing Is My Business came out and finally came out in '85.
Okay.
Or I was 9, so I was just
getting
into metal at that point.
I'll go through a few more real quick.
Yeah.
My favorite. Everybody knows one of my all-time favorite bands is Aerosmith. I've never got to meet any of the guys in Aerosmith except for Jimmy Crespo that I got to meet in a bar. However, I've had plenty of friends meet Aerosmith several times. And so I actually on my wall over here, which I didn't pull down, I have an Aerosmith copy of Rocks signed by the entire band, original members. It actually belonged to Gene Simmons. And my buddy Trog, he was at the Kiss store in Vegas, and where Gene was selling some of his vinyl collection. And he's like, I had to buy it for you, dude. So he did. But I've never got to actually meet him, but I've had other friends meet him, the bands. And it's funny because I got 2 different copies. This copy here is signed by Steven Tyler and Joey Kramer. And my friend John, well, you know John, Captain Howdy.
He's the one that sent me this.
Yeah, he got this signed, and I'm sure he got it signed at the same time.
Yeah, because he got this one signed at what's the big equipment show in Vegas? NAMM.
Is that the one in Vegas?
Yeah.
Oh, this one. Yeah, this one. The one he got signed for me. Joe Perry was doing one of those like rock and roll schools where they have all the different musicians coming in, and Perry happened to be. This one here, because this one has Tyler and Perry on it.
That's cool.
And he had him sign it in gold ink. I don't know how well that's going to show. Anyhow, a few more real quick. I've got several Dark Angels signed, but this one here I love just because it's just signed by Gene and it's so cool.
In the Mist. I like that.
I have stuff I've gotten signed by them because I mean, you guys know that I know Ron, but this one actually was signed back in '93, so it's an old and it's an original pressing. And I'll show one more. I've met Nugent many times, but yeah, I've got tons of stuff autographed by him. So he always dates his autographs. It's very rare that he doesn't. But anyhow, there's a few that are signed by him. He actually signed that one to me, which was kind of nice. So that's a nice quick pile of them. I could tell stories about how I got them signed, but we'll just move on. We're almost out of time.
I'll flip through a couple. I am going to tell a cool story about this one, though. So Mastodon's a local band for me. I've met all but one of the guys from the band, and a couple of the guys I see all the time at shows. They're just part of the metal scene out here. But they did a pre-order event through Criminal Records where if you pre-ordered it through the label or through the record store, you could go to a listening party with the band and they would sign the record afterwards. And what was cool about the listening party was it was done at the planetarium. So it was a planetarium sound system, which is really good. And they were playing videos on the planetarium itself. It was a really cool event. And it was for Once More Around the Sun. It's hard to see because of the artwork, but it's signed by the whole band there. I've actually got like 4 things signed by them because for a while, every record that came out, they would do an event. Lost Tracks of Danzig, signed by Glenn Danzig. That was a cool one to get. He doesn't do signing events anymore. This was back. Was this the early 2000s when that came out? I haven't seen him do a signing event since. Helmet has always been. I've always been a big fan of Helmet. Page Hamilton. The guy's a genius. That one was really cool to see them and get that signed. This one, our friend John, who we were just talking about, hooked me up with this. Ozzy was in Canada there doing, it was some kind of TV event, and he got word of the hotel that he was staying at, and he was able to get a couple things signed by Ozzy. So he got this one for me. This was a Indiegogo when that was a thing before it kind of fell apart. Judas Priest did a real limited. I think they did like 100 or 175 of these, but it was a signed version of Firepower, signed by the whole band. Love this record. And then a couple more, and then we'll be done. Saw Overkill. I can't remember if I saw Overkill last year or if it was earlier this year. But they were selling a bunch of records. This was the only one they had I didn't have, so I got them to sign this after the show.
Is that the Live at Essen or whatever?
This is volume 1 of Live at Overhausen, so I had to go buy volume 2 afterwards too.
Of course.
I talked about this in our show last week, but Still Not Black Enough, signed by Bob Kulick. It was cool to meet him, talk to him for about half an hour. And I just got this in the mail the other day, signed by Paul Rogers. Can't get enough. Bad Company, tribute to Bad Company. Wow. Paul Rogers is actually on a couple of the tracks. And Brand Daler. No, not Brand Daler. I don't remember who else signed it, but it's Paul Rogers is the main guy. So,
yeah, we need to do a part 2 because I got some more stories we could tell. Like I can tell you stories about met Overkill a couple times, and it's funny because I've got tons of stuff signed by Overkill, but every single one of them is missing the one guitar player who is. I'll just not say his name because I don't want to badmouth anybody, but
He's a
I got
tough
to
one.
talk.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I got to meet him. I got to meet the whole band several times. I got one time we were actually at the bus, and so I just asked him if I wasn't talking to him. The other guys were very talkative, and the guitar player I'm talking about, I just say, hey, do you mind signing my CD? He goes, I don't have time. I'll do it later. He goes, and he took off and he walked down the street at some bar. He goes, just see me later or see me after the show. So anyhow, we stuck around and talking to the other guys in the band. Eventually, he came back and he just ignored me the entire time, which
You
is
need to
fine.
have
He's
a
busy.
you needed to have a girl with you, Scott, and he would have signed
I
it.
know. That's exactly where he walked, down to the strip club that was down the street.
Yeah. I got a
But in
couple
any case,
more. I got a couple more when you're done.
okay, yeah, and in any case, he just ignored me. So then after the show, I went out again, and I was like, hey, dude, you mind signing this real quick? And he just looked at me and walked away, and I was like, all right. Well, then a couple years later, they were playing that big Gigantor festival, and you could pay to do meet and greets, and I paid to meet Overkill, and again, he wasn't there. The other 4 guys were out there signing autographs. He didn't show up.
Tommy Lee was doing that for so John hooked me up with the Theater of Pain signed by the whole band, except for Tommy Lee. Tommy Lee refused to sign anything. He for a couple years there, he wouldn't do meet and greets. If you ran across him, he wouldn't sign anything. So
once again, got to have a girl with you. I finished a DJ set for him because he was too wasted, but I had a girl with me. But anyway, how about this? St. Vitus,
Nice.
Dave Chandler and Mark. I've got a million things signed by Joel Grind, Toxic Holocaust, and then here's one that's kind of an Islander for me. This is Dave.
Oh, nice.
Meniketti, down here at the bottom, right there.
That's a great album.
So here's the one with the story that I did not get signed myself. My grandfather in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, used to be a truck driver. And, Purina, Ralston, Purina, and some of the other more Midwesterny type of things were there. Anyway, he got an invitation to go see a guy play. And it just happened to be one of my country guitar heroes,
wow,
Ernest
that's awesome.
Tubb. And he autographed a record to my grandfather, Sincerely Ernest Tubb. And when my grandfather passed away, this is the only thing I wanted from the estate. And because he used to play this record for us when we would go visit, and I remember it very distinctly. So that could have been one of my like we talked about last week, rare finds and whatever. But I mean, you're never going to get. Ernest died in '84 from emphysema. He was 70, and he stopped touring about '82. So
ready? I'm gonna win the competition here with this one. You ready?
Okay, yeah. Osric Tentacles. Oh,
Scott pulls out his own album.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I do have every single Ultimatum album signed by all the members who played on it.
You know what's funny? I have stuff signed by all the members of Ultimatum. I don't have any that are one record signed by all the members. I've got.
I think
some of them I have. Some of them I don't know if you can see them or not, but right up here, those are all signed by the band. I you know what?
Actually,
I loved our band. I loved my music, and when we put a new album out, I was damn proud of it. So I made sure all those guys signed it, and I have a copy by everybody.
I think that one's signed by you and Robert right there.
This one even has the elusive collector card in it.
I have that collector card. In fact, here it is.
I did want to say to Frazier, I do have Death Cult from Corner.
Came in this pressing of the CD.
But the copy I have is a Russian bootleg. I tried. So No Remorse did like 100 copies on cassette because it was cassette only, the original release, and 100 copies on CD, and those things go for crazy money now. I missed out on that, but I do have a Russian bootleg that sounds really good.
I think one of our listeners, Tony Clem, one of our all-time, he had me sign a War Beast record because I did the artwork for it. So that was kind of fun.
Garrett Frazier does it all day long.
Frazier, we weren't talking about Bobby Blitz. Bobby was every time I met Overkill, Bobby was super nice.
Bobby was really cool when I met him.
Yeah, and matter of fact, the one time I had my son with me, and he was wearing his denim jacket, and he was talking to Bobby, and Bobby took a big interest in my son, he was like, I don't know, young teen, 12, 13, long blonde hair, and he signed his jacket and everything.
I have the first 2 Pegasus on CD. I don't have them on vinyl.
Yep, I have them on CD also, Mark. That's
I have them on CD as well, but I love Pegasus.
Yeah,
I don't have the
Massacre
vinyl
from,
though. I wish.
Yeah,
there's actually a Texas Pegasus that was like, I want to say they were a glam metal band that did.
Yeah, but they have an S, not a Z in their name.
Yeah.
But
I do have an autographed Pegasus poster because my friend Steve Rowe from Mortification and Pegasus did some shows together, and he got the poster signed for me, and Mortification signed it too, and he sent it to me.
Well, shout out to Mark Massacre from Melbourne, Australia. He's got new music coming out, and he sends me little snippets here and there. And he is a huge Texas music, thrash, especially thrash. He loves War Beast. He loves the Gamma Side, that type of thing. But his bands are all just brutal, fast. He's an amazing musician. So shout out to him for hanging out with us.
Hey, Noise Spectrum, Brother Lee, get a hold of me. I will get you a copy of that signed if you want. Just get a hold of me somehow. Email me, PM me something. I can get that one to you. But anyhow, we need to get going. It's already after an hour. We could definitely do it.
We did
part 2 for sure.
We did rep some Canada earlier before you came on. So
yeah, we sure
the
did.
Slaughter.
That's just for you, Lee.
Yeah, I think I've got some Razor stuff signed too. So I just couldn't. We could have been here talking for 3 days about this.
Well, we'll do a part 2. We can.
Like every subject,
if
metal related.
Yep.
We were getting lots of comments and lots of people were watching, so we'll do a part 2 because I pulled some other records and I got this whole pile of CDs I didn't even show.
Yeah, I didn't even. I've got CDs out the wazoo too. So,
and I only pulled a couple off my walls. My walls are covered with. So,
this is one of my favorite. This is one of my favorite ones. That I love this album. It's one of my all-time favorite records, and having it signed by the whole band. It's pretty damn cool. Recon. Do you have this album, John? Behind Enemy Lines?
Recon?
Yes.
No, I do not.
Oh, it's just one of the best, straightforward. It's like Queensryche on steroids. It's like Queensryche meets Metallica, early Metallica.
I like it.
Yeah, it's got the heavy kind of riffing, but it's got this high, clean, Jeff Tate-ish kind of vocals. It's fantastic.
Like Agent Steel?
Yeah. Or have you heard the first 2 Deliverance albums? Kind of in that vein, but with a higher register vocalist than Jimmy Brown.
Weapons of My Warfare. That's one of my favorite.
Well, this was recorded during the same time as Weapons of Our Warfare, and Jimmy Brown plays on this album as well, and does some of the background vocals. So it's got a very similar vibe with a different vocalist.
Oh, cool.
Matter of fact, the title track, Behind Enemy Lines, I believe, is Jimmy Brown writing it and playing on it. So anyhow, right on. All right, well, we'll go through a part 2. I promise. That was a lot of fun, and I like seeing everybody else's stuff. Next time, maybe we'll bring on a guest because I have a couple guests who have some amazing autograph stuff.
He's still around. He's not doing good health-wise, though. So Mortification's pretty much.
Mortification is not around as a band anymore. Steve Rowe had a stroke.
Yeah, he did their last record about 7 or 8 years ago was the last.
Yeah,
record?
It was, and he's confined to a wheelchair and he can't play anymore, and he can't read anymore because he lost most of his vision. So yeah, he's still alive and he's doing okay from what I understand, but he's not in a condition where he can play music anymore, which is unfortunate. So anyhow, tried to keep up with all the. Yep. Mr. Pickle said Recon is a classic. It is. It's great. It's funny because we've one of the labels I worked for repressed that album 3 times already, and every time he's repressed it, it's sold out within 2 to 3 weeks. Gone. All of them gone. and they're gone again. I think he pressed it 3 times on vinyl already, and all of them are gone. So anyhow, all right. Well, that's it. Any guys got anything else you got to say before we do our normal ending?
I was going to say, Steve, why didn't you bring out the pentagram?
I thought about it, but I thought you were going to bring it out. I've actually got other stuff I've got other pentagram stuff that Bobby signed the first time I met him.
Part 2.
Do you have the what was the album that the guitar Victor Griffin's album signed by him by any chance? His solo album?
In the basement.
I have the signed CD.
Yeah.
That
anyhow, you can find John on Instagram at Carcass John Art or
at 128 DB Rock in the Crypt or Carcass John's Alter Ego. In fact, tonight at 10 o'clock Central Standard Time, Carcass John's Alter Ego. Please dial it in and listen up.
It's going to be tonight's show is going to be all stuff like the Osmonds, right?
It will be deep cuts in rock and metal. Deep cuts.
Oh, so some Olivia Newton-John maybe.
Olivia Newton-John. Carpenters. We got Karen Carpenter doing double bass. Which
Right
she
on, drum
probably
solo.
could do.
He
She was actually a great
loved it,
drummer.
too. She was a great drummer.
She was a nice
Yeah.
speed kicker there. She was like Ian Pace, but
He
anyway.
was awesome.
You can find Steve on YouTube at Harmless Rebel 868. You can also find him on YouTube and Instagram, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And you're also doing another show, right? Besides this one, where you with multiple people.
Yeah, that one's more just listening and hanging out and drinking. That's on the PB Saul channel, and we don't play a lot of metal. That's a mix that you'll hear everything from 50s rock to reggae to Slayer to it's
Is that
really
John's show?
No, John is on it with me. So John's been in a bunch of bands himself. He's a rockabilly guy, but he's also a thrash and New Wave British heavy metal guy. So
Yep.
We always have a good time.
Right on. Well, you can find me on Instagram on No Life to Metal. You can find me on YouTube under No Life to Metal. You can find me pretty much anywhere, any of those places under No Life to Metal. So that's it for episode number 291.
Gosh, amazing.
And how it goes. Metal
Will
prevail.